I bought most of my tools with money that I made from woodworking. But if you want to make money from selling the things you create, you need more skills than just woodworking. Just one of those skills is being able to recognize what seasonal events are coming before they even get here. I think there was dog pee on there.
I think it'd be easier if you got a calendar.
Right now, in the next few months, most of the country is getting ready to head back to school. So that means there may be an opportunity for you to add some back to school creations to your repertoire.
Stay in school.
To your inventory. So today we're building a back to school project, I should say a back to school bestseller. That's not just good for students, almost anybody could use this around the house. So enough jabber John, let's get to building. The first thing I'm gonna do is cut two 11-inch boards out of this 1x8. Yeah, that really happened. I've heard of internal tension in the boards, but this is the first time I've ever experienced it like this. It feels like this board is clamped to the blade. I cannot get it off. You hear how tight it is on the blade? As soon as my saw blade made it through the wood, it grabbed onto the blade. It felt to me like I hit a knot, and I started to let go of the saw, and it just ripped the board off the table. Thank God for my cat-like reflexes. And then I wrestled with this thing for a couple of minutes trying to get this board off of here. I felt like my wife trying to wrestle a brownie out of my hand before dinner. This just goes to show you guys, you have to be careful. Just a simple thing like cutting into a board. If you got this internal tension like this and it grabs onto your blade, this could have been worse. I mean, I wasn't doing nothing crazy. Here I am. Don't worry, the table saw is unplugged.
He's a Neanderthal.
I was worried I had bent the blade or messed something up on the saw or threw it out of whack. So I tested everything before I put it back together and everything was good. So I'm cutting the same board, but this time I'm doing a bunch of shallow passes rather than going through the board all at once. And that seemed to do the trick. I didn't end up using that board anyways. I got a different board because I got to make some cuts on there with my bandsaw, and I didn't want it to do the same thing on the bandsaw, so I'm going to use a completely different board. I used my table saw and I squared each board on one edge, so that way they can stand on one edge. This board's on the factory edge, which you can see is a little bit more wobbly, and this is one that I cut square. I just blew right down the middle.
Breath smells really bad.
I made this template on my computer, and I'm gonna put that on the top of here, and then I'm gonna cut it out. I'm gonna cut it out with my bandsaw, but it's all pretty much straight lines. You could use a jigsaw if you want. I'm gonna trim my template up so that it fits on the board without hanging over, and I'm gonna cut it even with this bottom line on the bottom, because that bottom line is gonna match up with the bottom line that we just cut, the squared edge we just made, just like this. You can cut yours with scissors. I'm gonna cut mine with a razor blade and use a ruler. It's just easier to get it straight. Qua-bam. So my template's all trimmed up, and now I'm gonna put it on here and I'm gonna line up this edge to the edge that I squared up. And I'm gonna put it on there with this glue. This is a repositionable glue stick, which means you can take it back off very easily. It holds perfect for when you're cutting it, but then when you need to take it off after you're done, it comes off very easily. I'm gonna make sure I put it on, I can see through this, as you probably can in the video. I'm gonna make sure I have it all on there where the actual template is and where I'm cutting. So now I just gotta flip it over, line up the bottom edges, and then just press it on with my hands and get all the air bubbles out. Just like that. Before I cut it out, I have this part right here that I made round, and it's exactly 3/4 of an inch. So I'm gonna use a 3/4 of an inch Forstner bit, and I'm gonna drill that part out. So I'm gonna eyeball it from above and get it perfectly centered in this opening, and then push down on it so I know where the center is. Then I'm gonna drill this through. So now I'm just gonna cut it out with my bandsaw. But like I said earlier, these are all straight cuts. This would be really easy to cut out with a jigsaw. And this would also be a great time to help out a fat, bald, overweight, well that's fat, I guess, woodworker. Slow, that's the one I forgot. with a like, comment, share. And I'm almost at 100K subscribers. And if I get to 100K, YouTube sends me an aluminum foil play button. So if you guys can subscribe, my daughter will really respect me if I have one of those play buttons. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you. Hey, my shape's done. I think they came out pretty good. And then look how easy it is to get these stencils off. Bam! It's that repositionable glue stick. I'll put a link to it in the description if you want to get some. The guys I usually have in my videos holding the signs are usually part of the theme of the video. These guys went to school together, so that's why they're in the back to school video. Like my last video was about a knife holder, so I had Wolverine and Deadpool on the signs.
Who cares?
Now I'm going to take my two pieces and I'm going to put one on top of the other and line them up exactly. And then I'm going to use a piece of scrap wood in between them and my workbench, and I'm going to clamp them to my workbench. I'm going to drill a hole through them, so I don't want to drill it into my workbench. I'm going to drill the hole right in here. The exact location doesn't really matter that much. Just try to get it centered in here. I'm putting the boards on top of each other like this, so the hole is in the exact same spot on both boards. And I'm using a 7/8 inch Forstner bit because that's the size of the dowel that I'm going to put in here. I was going to use a 3/4 inch dowel, but the dowel that I had was too small compared to my Forstner bit, so I went to Walmart, but they don't carry 3/4 inch. I normally bring a little block of wood with me with a hole drilled into it, and then I check the dowels to see if they fit. But like I said, they didn't have 3/4. So now I'm just seeing how long my wife will film me doing this before she gets mad. All right, so now I got this 7/8 inch dowel, and I'm going to cut a 12-inch piece off of it. First, I'm going to cut off the end because it's drier than the soap dispenser in the Carl's Jr. bathroom by my house. Then I gave everything a once-over on my Turd Polisher 2000. And then I used my spindle sander attachment on my drill to do the little round part. I also used the little finger sander that I have for the in-between parts, but I forgot to film it, so. All right, you guys figure out what it is yet? Self-defense blocks. I'm just kidding. Check it out. You put your dowel in this hole, this dowel in this hole. All right, so check this out. You got a laptop, boom. Put your laptop on there. Look at that. It's a laptop stand. And if you got a keyboard, you put your keyboard down here like that. You need to store your keyboard, you just slide it up into here. Look at that. Like I said, it's like a back to school item, but I mean, who couldn't use one of these? I'm gonna let my wife have this one. This is just the prototype. But once you get one built, you could probably use your router to make these. If you have a CNC, that's even better. You can make these all day with a CNC and then use some plywood, because I think plywood would be stronger. Not that this isn't gonna hold this a regular laptop, but, and as a bonus, you're done with your laptop, you need some room on your desk to do some writing, you wanna write Santa a letter or something, boom, you stand that up like that, slide your laptop inside of there. And then you can even just lean the keyboard up against it like this. Look at that. Boom, it goes against the wall, just like that. Tell me that's not awesome.
But wait, there's more.
So now you're going somewhere, you're going to work, going to school, wherever. You want to put this in your, you want to put your laptop in your backpack. You just take this apart and put this in the backpack with it. And then look at this. Look at that space-saving technology. I feel like I'm on the Jetsons. Now, if you do a search for laptop holders on Etsy, you'll see a bunch of different ones come up. And these are all the best sellers. You can see at the top here. Now, this is the one mine was inspired by, but mine is actually way different than this one. This one's a bestseller, and as you can see up in the top right, it's in 20 plus carts right now. That means it could be in 21 carts. It could be in 50 carts. I don't know. They stop at 20. And as you can see, he's selling this one for about $45. And obviously, ours are the same concept, but his is different. His was just a couple of ramps made out of hardwood. You can't beat that for $45. Mine I did not come up with myself. I'm not selling it, so I just copied someone else's idea. These videos are to inspire you guys to find ideas of your own. This was another one I wanted to show you. It's another bestseller. This one's gone for $39, and it's also in 20 plus carts. And this is basically just a piece of hardwood with some grooves routed into it or cut into it somehow to hold like a skinny laptop or an iPad. And if you get one with 4 grooves cut into it, it's selling for $75. I think that's really good for what it is. Oh, it's gonna kill me. I got sawdust all over her laptop.